our topic of discussion is before going to the detail of linked list, let me start with the problem of array. We are very much habituated of using an array. What we have seen in an array looks something like this. Array looks something like this, and we identify them by their index value. And if you consider the exact situation from the memory point of view, it's something like consecutive memory location. First one, if I consider is address is 100, second one will be 102. If I consider it's an integer array, third one will be 104, and so on, like this. Now, how we declare this array? We declare array something like we write this type of code, say int a 5. Now, what type of declaration it is? This is what we call static declaration. Static declaration we have discussed in the last class. And what is the disadvantage of static declaration we have seen here? That is, once you have created this array, there is no way to remove this if it is not required after some point of time when program is running. Second point is that assume that suddenly you realize that this 5 locations is not sufficient in a runtime situation. You realize that these 5 locations is not sufficient. Maybe you need 5 more locations. So somehow we have to extend it to 5 more locations. It will be better if there was a way, but it's not possible if we have a static declaration, something like this. Then, if you find that okay, these 5 locations are not even needed, maybe 2 locations are sufficient. So just cutting down the other locations again not possible. And this particular, all of this type of limitations actually motivated us for going to what we have seen, dynamic memory allocation, that we have seen in the last class. So this linked list is one type of an example of dynamic memory allocation. And ultimately, remember one thing, the purpose of array and linked list is same. Array is used for storing more than one data at a time. Linked list will be used for storing more than one data at a time. But the limitation that we have in this array, we can overcome it in this linked list. So what the linked list say? Linked list say that you don't need to create the all locations at a time. For example, if I assume that 10 memory locations for a particular problem, you don't need to create 10 memory locations at a time statically, that we have done in an array. Rather, we can create one location at a time, and whenever the next location will be required, we will create the location dynamically when the program will execute, and then somehow we will connect them. So that means linked list look something like a chain of some boxes. Why I am saying chain of boxes? The reason is that when we declare a memory location dynamically, there is no guarantee that what is the memory address that will get occupied by that particular node. For example, when we declare an array, we know that whatever the first location address is, next location address will be always 102, third will be always 104. They are consecutive by nature. But when you will go for dynamic memory allocation, there is no guarantee that if I assume that the address of this first box is 100, then there is no guarantee that address of second box will be 102. It can be 200. It can be 300. Something like this. So that means if we assume the whole screen that you have seen in your front, in front of you, is representing a memory space, that means this node can be stored anywhere. So it's something like I have the first node is created, the first box is created somewhere here, the second box is created somewhere here, the third box is created somewhere here, the fourth box is created somewhere here, fifth box is created somewhere here. Now question is that suppose address of this box is 100, address of this was in 200, suppose address of this one is 500, address of this was in 300, suppose it was in 800. So these are addresses of the boxes. Now question is that if you don't keep a track that which box is before which one box or which box is after which other box, then how you will understand which one should be first one and which one should be second one? It is not possible. That means somehow we have to keep track, we have to connect them logically by a path. So how we will connect them logically by a path, that I am coming later. So somehow I can say that I must have a path from here to here. And second one I have considered, third one I have considered this one. So something like this. Second part. Third part will be something like this, because this is the, fourth one. I mean the third path. And from here, this should be the last one. Something like this. Now, that means this linked list is something like the scattered chain. Now, if you want to draw this diagram clearly, it looks something like a linear fashion. This is the first box, this is the second box, this is the third box, and this is the fourth box, as usual. The same diagram that I have drawn over here is represented in this fashion. And maybe this one, another box, 800. And somehow they are connected. So that means, you see, first question is that, the first point is that each and every box has been created in a dynamic way. And what is the basic code of creating a memory in a dynamic way? That is, the code is something like, assume P equal to something like some variable, some data type, then pointer, then malloc, then size of something. If I want to, since I want to create only one box at a time, that's why size is enough. Size of this box is enough to give. So if this code execute, then one box will be dynamically created, and which will be pointed by P. Now we have to understand how this box look like. To realize it, one thing is sure, that each and every box is held by some pointer. So if I assume that I have created one more boxes, and I can assume that I have one more statement Q equal to something like this. So which Q will basically point to this particular memory block. Now, since we have to create a logical path between this first box and second box, and each and every box is identified by this P and Q, which is holding these addresses. That means somehow in this first box, I must have a place where I can keep the address of this second box, so that whenever required, I will jump to this address and ultimately I can find this box, right? So P and Q is basically holding these two boxes. Since P, if I assume that P has been executed as well as Q is another same line has been executed. So P will create a box something like this and Q will create a box something like this. And still this link is not created. There are two scatter boxes. Now somehow if I want to connect them logically, then what I can say? That I must store the address of this second box somehow in this first box so that I can jump. Let's take one more example. Suppose these are different houses, okay? These are different houses. And what you have the key to enter in this particular house. But you don't have key for entering in these other four houses. What do you have, rather? You have the key of this second house is present somewhere within this first house. So what you will do? You will enter in this house, you will take the key, and then using that key you can enter in the second house. As soon as you will enter in the second house, you have the key of the third house within this second house, you will take the third key, and then you can enter in the third house. And in this way, you can go on till last house. So this situation actually represents a linked list. Okay. So that means I can say, when I will think about implementing this linked list, say assume that I have this line and I have this line. So P, due to this first line, the first box is created. Due to the second line, the second box is created. So that means, what is P? P is the key. P is the key to enter within this box 1. Q is the second key to enter in the second box. That means somehow within this first box, this Q has been stored. Right. That means I can say that this particular box has at least 2 sub boxes. The first one contains some data, and second one contains what we call an address. Address of what? Address of next box, or technically what we call node. And then somehow this, since it is an address of second next box, it can store an address of next box. That means the address of the second box is present here, and this box looks same thing, like same also. That means it contains some another data, and it also contains address of next node. That means the third node. So in this way, our linked list looks something like this. Now question is that, obviously, how to implement this, we will come very soon. But before that, we have to define something so that it can represent a box. Remember, technically, the box that I'm saying here, technically, it is called node. So we will call that as node as a linked list. So now next question is that, what will be the data type of this node? Right. So you see, this data type contain a data, and in a simplest situation, I can assume that it is nothing but an integer value. Right. So one contain an integer value and one contain an address. Address of what? Address of same type of box. Right. So that means, what is the data type that can handle, that can be used to create a box something like this? Only integer cannot do, only float cannot do, only character cannot do, even a array is not possible, because array considers for similar data type. So what I can store? What data type I can use to create this type of node? Here, what we can use that we have discussed last day, that is structure. How the structure look like? So structure of the node will look something like this. The first one will be the data part. Second one will be the address part. That's all. So two parts. So that means I can define a structure of the node as, say, struct, say, node within bracket. Suppose it's an integer data I have considered. So it's a very simple one, int data. So data is the variable name and it is going to store address. So suppose the variable name I am considering as next, because this is going to store address of the next node. The variable name will be next. Fine. But what will be the data type of this variable? You see, this variable has to be a pointer, because if it is not pointer, it cannot hold any address. That is for sure. So it is a pointer. Now, if it is a pointer, then what type of pointer? Naturally, question will come. Because when we declare, say, pointer p, we not only declare this one, rather we declare int or float or char, depends on address of what type of data it is going to store. And here, this next variable is going to store address of a node. So that means I can say it is something like struct node pointer. So I should write here struct node pointer. My bracket completes, my job end. So I have declared this node. So that means, as we have discussed last day, this is only a blueprint of the node. I have not yet created any node right now. It is just a blueprint of the node. Depends on my requirement, I have to create that. So you will come very soon later. So that means this particular code that we have just written is actually representing blueprint of each and every boxes, because every box is similar. So blueprint of each and every boxes can be represented by this structure declaration. Fine. Now what I have to do? Let me tell you some more important point regarding this linked list. Always remember, according to the last, always remember, in a linked list, you cannot have address of all these nodes at a time. You will have address of the first node only. As I told you that story, that you have the key of the second box, second house within this first house. Then you can go. Address of third house is present in the second house. That means this key is not visible to all of you. Nobody. You can have key of this one only. If you have this key, then you can enter to the second one. You can, if you enter in the second one, you can get a key of third one. If you go to third one, you can get a key of fourth one, and so on. That means the key of the first house is very important. If you don't have this key, you will never able to visit any of the houses. If you have this key, you can visit all the houses. So that means first key is highly important. And technically, this particular node is actually called head node. Head node, why? Because it is the first node. And that means you have a pointer, which pointer is holding this particular node. Only you have that pointer. So head node means I must have some variable. Suppose head. Suppose the variable name is head, a pointer head. And this pointer head will point this node. No other pointer will point any other node in real. So basically, nobody is pointing other nodes. Nobody is pointing other nodes. Only head is pointing to the first node. And if you are able to do this by collecting the address of the next node, you can go over there. Now, how you will go that I'm coming, but you can go. That you can see over here. Right. So somehow you have to keep this address of the first node very carefully in your hand. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Let's start how to create this linked list. So obviously we will have a main function. So let's write the main function here. If I assume that suppose I have to create the node say 10 times, so I can write a for loop. I can write a for loop, say I equal to 1, I lesser than 10, I plus plus. And here basically I will call the function for creating this node. Fine, very good. So suppose I have called a function something like create create underscore linked list. Okay, create linked list. And you see, one thing is very important here. Initially, when the linked list, suppose the linked list situation is something like this, at that time, what is the content of head? Head is a pointer which is pointing to this first node. The address of the first node is 100. So content of head will be 100. When head will point second node, then content of head will be 200. And in this way, right? Now, you see, if I assume the linked list doesn't even exist, I have not even created linked list. I'm just going to start. At that time, what is the content of head? It is not even 100, right? At that time, we can say that content of head is what we can call null. So that means head is pointing nowhere. So the pointer is pointing nowhere. Okay. So that means I can say at the very beginning of the execution of the loop, your head should be, if you write, your head should be initialized by null. I'm not writing the declaration of this head. Okay, let me write the declaration in properly. So somehow I have this structure over here, and what I have to do, I have to create a pointer head which is point to this structure, because this structure is actually the blueprint of the node. That means I have to write something like struct node pointer head. I have one more way to define this. That is, you see, every time I'm writing structure node, it looks, it actually, sometimes you can say, you have to write a lot of things. So instead of writing struct node every time, I can give a nickname to this struct node part. Okay, how we can do this? We can do this by a keyword, what we call type def. If we write type def struct node then node, what does it mean? I have defined this struct node as node. So this node is nothing but the nickname. So calling struct node as a simple node, simply node is same. If you write, that means you don't need to write struct node every time. From this moment, you don't need to write struct node every time. Rather, you can easily write only node pointer. That's all. So this node will represent struct node itself. Fine. And obviously this head initially should be null, because I've not even created any node, any linked list, right? So that means we will do that very soon. So now if I say I have a for loop for I equal to 1 to 10, I'm not writing the exact code. You can do that. And here I will call a function. That is okay, fine. I will call a function create. And you see, there is two things. If you assume that you have no linked list till now, that means when the create function will be called first time, what you have to do? You have to just create one node. Maybe you have to put some value over there. And what is the next part of this? It is not pointing anywhere, right? So since it is not pointing anywhere, that means this next part, I can say this next part actually pointing, what you can say, is null. So that means when you will create a new node, we have to do this next part as a null, so that it represents, that is the end of the linked list. It's something like if you have a train, in the last compartment, I think most of you have seen that there is a cross, red cross at the end of the train. So that actually signifies that is the end of the train. And that red cross is not present in other compartments, right? So same thing, like the end of the linked list should be a null. I mean, the next part of the linked list should be null. Why? Because as a programmer, you don't know when the linked list creation will get stopped. So whatever node you have created last time, that will be the last node of the linked list. So if it is the last node of the linked list, the next part should be null. And if it is not last node, in that case, what I have to do? Say, consider the create function has been called once more. So you had already this data, this node already you had, which is pointed by head, fine. And when this create function will be called once again, another node will be created, another value will be inserted somehow, and this next part will become null, fine. But I have to connect this logically. Right now, this next part is null. Now what I will do? I will replace this null by this address of the second node, so that it can point to the next node. Rather pointing to null, now it will point to the next node. So now that means, you see, when we are declaring the node first time, we are only declaring the node and that's all. But when we are calling the create function second time onwards, it is not about creating the node, but also connecting the node with the previous nodes, right? So that means somehow you have to differentiate whether you are calling the create function first time or second time onwards. How you can differentiate that? How? You see, when you are calling this create function first time, your head is null. But when you will call create function second time onwards, that means already one node is there, so head will not null, head will point to some valid node. So that means the content of the head will signify what is whether the create function is called first time or not. That's why what my suggestion is that you should pass this head within create function. Fine. Now see, let's go to the create function now. So if we write a create function, you see I have not written anything. So if I reconsider that the create function is void, void create, I must have a data type of this over here. What data type? This head is a data type of node pointer, meaning struct node pointer. That means here also I should write node pointer head, right? Fine. So here what I can do, I can check whether I'm calling first time or not. So I have to check if head equal to null or not. If this condition is satisfied, it means this create function is called first time. And if the create function is called first time, that means I have to create the node only, that's all. Right. So that means what I can call, I can say that okay, do one thing. I can modularize my code for say creating a node only by in another function. For example, suppose I can call a function say create node. Create node, and that's all. And it will return somewhere over here. So I must have some declaration of P that I'm coming. So if we go for create node function, see if you declare a function, one more function, create node. What it will do? It will just create a node having blueprint something like this. So that means I will obviously need to create a pointer because this create node is going to be in dynamic fashion. So create node will be in a dynamic fashion. You have to create the node in dynamic fashion. That means I need a pointer. Pointer of what? Pointer of this node type, struct node type. So suppose that means I will create a pointer, say node pointer, obviously not struct node. Struct node I don't need to write because I have already typed them as a node. So I can write node pointer say P, and here I will write P equal to what? You should write node pointer, not int pointer, because I'm going to create a location as a node. Node pointer, then malloc, and within bracket we have to write size of what? Now I don't know the size of this structure. That's why I will write size of node. That's enough. So when this code will get executed, what will happen? A new node just has to be created, will be created. A new node is created. Fine. Suppose it address is 100. So P is a pointer whose content will be this 100. So that means I can say that P is pointing this node. Fine. Now what I can do? I can insert some data within this node because according to the structure, it contains two locations. That means here I have two parts. So here I can store some value. For example, I can scan a data. Scan where? Remember, I have to access the data variable of this node pointed by P, right? In case of structure, we have seen that we have a dot operator to access the element of a structure. But here, it is not exactly structure, rather I should say it's a structure pointer. P is a structure pointer. Means P is a pointer which is pointing to a structure. Since P is a structure pointer, that is why here to access the data element of the node, we have to use what we call arrow operator. Okay, not dot. So that means here I should write scan in P arrow data. Data is the variable name presented in the structure node. You have seen this. And P is why P? Because we have use this variable p for pointing the first node. So that means this p is nothing but that apartment, and f data is nothing but the flat. So flat of this apartment. That's why this arrow is representing that data of this p structure. Here 5 nodes. Each and every node contain data. Each and every node contain a next part. Now data of which node? How you will say that? Data of the node pointed by p. Here I had hello, right? Head. Anyway, so we will enter some data in this location. That means some data. So suppose that I have entered 10. Some depends on user, just entered 10. Fine. And then you see, this is a linked list having one node only, right? So if it is a linked list, this end at the end of the linked list, I'm not going to point anything. That means it should be null right now, at least for current perspective, because I don't know whether the second time create function will be called or not. So that means a very important task is to declare null in the next variable pointed by this p. How we can do this? We can write p arrow next, because I have to use this p arrow. Then I can access this next part and equal to null. So if you do this, what will happen? It is now pointing nowhere. So it is end of the linked list. As simple as that. Fine. So now what you can do? My job is completed. So that means now I can return. But I should return the address of the new node, because this address will be created dynamically. There is no guarantee that address will be consecutive. That's why I have to return this address p. So it has entered over here p. So I must have create pointer p over here also. Don't mix up this p with this p. This p is within this create node, and this p is within the this p is within the create function. This p is within the create node function. So the scope of this p is limited within this create node function, and scope of this p is limited within this create function only. Okay. Anyway, so what is the return type of this create node? It cannot be void, because it is returning something. What it is returning? It is returning an address, right? Address of what? Address of a node. So that means, since it is returning an address, this function I should write as pointer create. So it's not a function, it's a function that returning an address. So I should call it function pointer. So what is function pointer? We have function pointer. What is function pointer? Function that returns an address of anything. It's not always that address of node will be anything. If a function return address of a pointer, then also it's a function pointer. Anyway, so pointer create, and then what pointer? Node pointer. So I must write node. So node pointer create will be the proper declaration of this function. Fine. And now, anyway, so after returning this over here, this is holded by this p. Fine. And then what to do? You see, I have nothing to do right now because it is the first node. So I can directly go back to the main function now. So when you will go back in the main function, if you go back in the main function, you see, when the create function will be called again, the head is not changed over here. because head was local variable within this main. Whatever change has done in P, but it is not being reflected in head because you have not returned P, first of all. You have not returned this P. So if you return this P, you should have something to hold over here that we have seen in function. So if I write, say, arbitrarily, suppose x equal to create something, what does it mean? Mean x should be a node pointer type, pointer x, because I am going to return P, which is node pointer type. So whoever variable will take that one should be same type. That's why pointer x is needed. But if you reply in pointer x, if you return in pointer x, ultimately my job is not still completed because head is not changed right now. Means second time when the create function will be called, head contains still null. So again it will enter within this condition if and only node will be created. That's all. Only another node will be created, but they will not get connected because the if condition was satisfied. In the if condition, I'm not connecting two nodes, I'm only creating. So somehow I have to restrict this. How I can do this? I have a way that if I, instead of writing x, if I write head itself, because P contained is 100, that's why P is pointing to this node. So new node, forget about this new node right now. So when this P, this create function will return this P and it will be holded in head, that means now head is not null. So if we consider the variable space head over here, initially head contain null. After returning P to the main, head is not remain null. Rather, now head contain the content of P. What is the content? Content is 100. That means head contain 100. That means now head is pointing to this node also. So let's try to realize the same thing situation in a diagram. Suppose we have a main function. This is the main function. This main function contain head pointer which is null. Now this main function has called a function which is create. This create function contain a pointer P. Fine. There is no nothing in parameter. Okay, yes, I have this parameter over here. So this head is here. So I have one more pointer here, that is head. Right. Fine. This head and this head are physically apart. And since you have passed this head, that means actually null has passed and it stored null. So now, according to this create function logic, if head equal to null, I'm creating one more, I'm calling one more function for creating the node. Since head was null, it will call one more function. It will call this create function. So, and this function contain which data, which variable? It contain only P, right? Yes. This create node function contain only P. Only P. And you see, since you have created some memory space dynamically in P, that means now content of P is 100. Yes, content of P is 100, right? So, and then what we have done according to this logic, we have scanned some data, enter something, and p next become null. That we have seen over here. P next now become null. So now then what we have done? We have returned this p. Where? Obviously in the create function. So that means this is create node function. This function will return over here, and where it will return? This p will return to this, basically this p. So that means now this p contains 100. Fine. And you see, after returning back within this create function, we have nothing. Just I'm returning this p again. Where? So this p will be returned to this main function, and you see where it is returning. This p I'm writing return p over here, and where it is returning? It is returning to this head again. Since it is returning to head again, that means now this head, content of head, is no more contain null. This null is replaced by the content of p, that is 100. Since it is 100, that means now this head can point this new node, right? So this is the whole situation happened till now. So now what will happen? You see, this create function will be called again, because if I assume that for loop will run more than one, this create function will be called again. Now when next time when, if I assume, let's take another color, next time when this main will call this create function, this head no more contain null, now head contain 100. And since head contain not null, this if condition will be false. It seems to be like it's not the first time create function has been called. It is maybe second time or third time or fourth time. I don't know, but at least not first time. And what is the difference? Difference is that if it is not first time, then I not only create node, I have to connect the node with the previous nodes, previously created nodes. So I will come in else part. That means in the else part, what we can do? So if you are in else, then what mean? It means that the first node is created already. Something like situation is something like this. Now second node or third node has to be created. So if I assume that head create function will be called next time, it will come in else. In the else part, what is the job? There are two jobs. First job, you have to create the node. That's trivial. And second job is that you have to connect them with the previously created linked list. So you see how can create node? Simple, same code I will write over here. P equal to create node. That's all. I mean, this particular line will call this function again. So another node will be created over here, which is now pointed by P. Suppose address of this one is 200. So now content of P is 200. Content of P is 200. That's why P is pointing this node. Now see, after doing this, when the create node function will return back to create function again, then what is the job? I have to connect with the previous nodes. Now see, in this situation, what I should write? You see, I have to replace this null by the address of this new node. That means one thing I can see from this diagram, that content of this next part of the first node should be 200. Since it is pointer, if it is 200, it can point to this node, as simple as that. Now question is that how I will understand that it will contain, it will have this 200. I don't know the exact address of a node, but I know where the exact address present, that is in P, that I know, right? So that means I can write a statement something like head next equal to 200. It should be written. I should write this one, but 200 I cannot write because exact memory address is not possible to understand from a programmer. Rather, instead of writing 200, you can write P, because now P contains 200. So if you write this, what will happen? This 200 will be present here, and now this node can point to this node. So I have created a logical path from the first node to second node, but it is not so easy. Not so easy in the sense you cannot write every time head next equal to P. The reason is that, take a simple scenario, something like you have more than one nodes already created. For example, something like a situation something like this. Okay, you have say 4 nodes created already, and this is the 5th node that you have just created. The 5th node you have just created. So these connections in between 4 nodes is somehow present. Suppose these connections is somehow present. Connection somehow present mean connection somehow, if I assume that address is 100, it's 200, it's 300, it's 400. So the data, the next part, contain properly the addresses. That means it should contain 200, so that this node can point this node. It contains 300, it contains 400, and right now this node contains null because it is not pointing to this node. I have just newly created it, and some data is there. Say 1, 7, 3, 8. Suppose some data, and this is pointed by what? Head. And this is pointed by what? This is pointed by P, newly created node. So somehow, if you want to connect this node with the newly created node, you have to reach to this node first. If you write this statement in this situation, what will happen? This 200 will get replaced. Okay, let's write the address of this one, say 500. So if you write head next equal to P, then in this situation, what will happen? This 200 will get replaced by 500. And that means this link will cut off and it will point directly to this node, skipping all other nodes. So since you don't have key of this node, that means the entire node present in the linked list vanished. You will never able to trace out. That is why I told you that handling this pointer is very crucial in this data structure. So you cannot write this simple head next equal to P statement every time. I have to apply some logic so that I can reach to this node first and then I can connect. That means somehow I have to first learn how I can traverse a pointer from the first node till the last node, right? So how to traverse a pointer? Now one more thing. the head pointer that you have taken over here, you cannot use this particular pointer to traverse. Why? Because this is the master key. If you lose this master key, you will never able to start from the node 1 again. Because if you write head equal to say 200, that means now see, there is no way to go back from 200 to 100. No way. So this particular node vanishes. That means you cannot change this head variable until and unless the first node is really vanished. If you delete the first node, then only you can say the second node currently, which is second one, that will be the first node, and then only head can be 200, but not before that. But right now we are not considering any delete operation. That means you cannot change the head variable. That means what I can do, I have to take one more variable that will be initialized by the same address. So I can take one more variable, say t. This t should be initialized by 200, but 200 I don't know. Sorry, not 200, should be initialized by 100, because 100 is the address of the first node. So you cannot write 100 in this way because you don't know this address. You never know. Rather, you should write head, because head contains 100. So after writing t equal to head, what I should do? Now t is pointing to this head. Fine. But now my goal is to reach over here. That means next time t should be 200. Now what is 200? How I will get 200? I will get this 200 from the next part of the node pointed by t right now. Right. So writing 200 is not possible because hard code you cannot write. You don't know every time that what will be the address. But from this diagram I can say that 200 is present in the next part of the node which is currently pointed by t. That means this 200 is equivalent to t next right now. That means as a whole I can write t equal to t next. So what will happen? Whatever t, the next part of that will be replace the t variable itself. That means when this line will execute first time, what will happen? Right now t points to the first node. T next means what? 200. So t equal to t next means what? T become 200. So when this particular line will get executed, t will not point now this node, then t will point to the second node, because t content of t was initially 100, which become 200 now. Something like this. So that means somehow we have seen that to traverse the pointer from the first node till last, we have to use this particular statement. That is true. But question is that how many times? You don't know the total number of nodes present in the array currently. So I have to use a loop. Somehow I have to use a loop. Many times t equals to t next should execute. But where the loop will stop? You see a very interesting thing, that from this diagram I can say that t will not stop over here, t will not stop over here, but t should stop over here. So that means somehow I have to identify the difference of the last node with respect to all other nodes. And where is the difference? If you see very carefully each and every node, you will see the difference is present in the next part. Because in the last node only, the next part contains null, but for all other nodes, next part contains some valid address. Actually, the address of the next node. That means I can say that till I can't find the next part of the node which is pointed by t is not null, I will go on continue. What I've said, that till I cannot find the next part of a node pointed by t is null, I will go on continue. So that means as a whole, you can say the condition that you should keep over here, that while what? While I can say that while t next not equal to null. You see, first time t next, t is pointing this node. This part is 200, it's not null. So t will become t next. That means now t will point this node. Fine. Now see, t next is still not null. So again this loop will execute once. So now t will point this node. Now again t next not null. So again the loop will execute once. So t equal to t next. That means t will now point this node. Now see t next equal to null. So this loop will break due to this condition. T next equal to null. Null not equal to null is false. So that means now the loop will break. It will no more continue, and you see you are standing in the last node of the currently created linked list. So you are able to point the last node of the linked list, and you have the pointer p that is pointing to the newly created node. And what is your goal? You have to connect them. What you will do? You will simply write t next equal to p. Instead of writing head next, you will write t next equal to p. As soon as you will write t next equal to p, what t next was right now? T next was right now null. So p means 500. P is pointing to this node, means content of p is 500. That means t next will become 500. And as soon as it becomes 500, now this node can point to this newly created node. As simple as that. You see, you have connected the node. You have created a new node, and you have connected the node with the previous nodes of the linked list. So that means here what job is left? What job is basically left? After returning back over here, so it is nothing but created this new node. Then you have to write a for loop. While loop. While what? By the way, here you should write one more pointer, that is pointer t. You should declare t as equal to head, right? And while t next, that I have just written over there. T equal to t next. And when the loop will stop, we will simply write t next equal to p. That's done. Now see, one thing is still left. That is, ultimately it is not a void function. I was wrong initially. It is going to return some address of the node. So this create function should be node pointer. Right. So if the create function returns some address, for the if condition you have a return statement, fine. For the else condition, you must have a return statement also. But what you are returning here? You see, you are going to create a new node and you have connected with previous nodes. It doesn't hamper the head node, right? That chabi, that key is actually in your hand. That's a master key. So you cannot change that. That means for the other cases, when there is some nodes already created in the linked list, you are just connecting another node in the linked list, you should return the head itself. So you should write return head. This bracket should be after this head. I have written return p. Why? Because p was the newly created node, which is going to be the head node. But here I have written head because head is not null over here, because that's why I'm coming else. I have connected the newly created node with the last node of the linked list, and my head should remain same. That's why I have written this head, so that when it will return to the main function, the head remain same. Am I clear? Is there any doubt regarding this declaration of the point, of the create function? So we have a very simple thing left. That is what we have created. We have created a node. Fine. So we have created this node, and suppose say some data is present, say 10, and this contain null as it is, and this null is kept because of this line. When I'm creating a new node, I'm keeping this next as null. So now question is that how to so you have this node. So that means if I want to display my linked list, it should be printed 1, 7, 3, 8, something like this. It should be printed 1, 7, 3, 8. You see, we have already seen the way by which I can traverse a linked list. But there was one difference here. What is the difference? Difference is that, you see, have a node. Suppose if you have a node, something like, let's draw it in a very quick. You have somehow 5 nodes here. Contain 1, this contains 7, contain 3, contain 8, this contain 10, and this is to null. That's all, right? And it contains the addresses. It contains these addresses. That is why I think you can understand. So it's 100, it's 200, suppose it's 300, it's 400, and it's 500. And this is pointed by what? Head. And so if you consider that we have a display function, say after completion of this for loop, I have a display function. I will pass this head, right? Because the key of the first box. So that means in the display function, you will have that node pointer, suppose T. I've taken in T. Whatever you passed in head, it came in T. So that means you something like this particular main function now called one more function, which is display function. What it passed? It passed this head. Again, head means the address of the first node, and it contains 100. So I have kept in T. It contains now 100. So if it is 100, that means T is now pointing to this node. T is also pointing. Fine. Now what is my job? My job is to traverse this one, because if I want to print this data part, I have to write, say, printf T data, something like this. I'm just writing a pseudocode, printf T data. So for printing data of each and every node, you have to point these nodes by the variable T at some point of time. So when T is pointing this first node, T data means 1. When T will point the second node, T data means 7. When T will point third node, T data will be 3. So in this way, so 1 till last. So that means somehow I have to write a printf statement, say printf %d, that is very crucial, and T data. Fine. But I have to traverse it till last. That means T equal to T next has to be there. has to be there. And what we have seen regarding traversing already we have seen over here, something like this. But question is that what will be the condition over here? I have to use t printf statement as and this shifting statement more than once. Because if I assume that I have many nodes in the linked list, so that means I have to use this one in the loop. Fine, that I can understand. So I must have a while loop. Within this while, you have to write something. What you should write? You see, question is that where I will stop. Depends on that, I have to write it. You see, t is pointing here. I have to print it. T is pointing to the next node. I have to print this. T is pointing to the third node. I have to print this. T is pointing to the last node. Then also I have to print it. So if you write, as it was in the last case, t next not equal to null, then what will happen? You see, this part contain 200, not next not equal to null. So it will be printed. This part contains 300, not equal to null. Next part, 7 will be printed. So 1 is printed, 7 is printed. Then t equal to next. So t come here, it contains 400. So t next not equal to null. Again 3 will be printed. This contains 500. So after t equal to t next, when t will point this fourth node, t next not equal to null, correct? So 8 will be printed, and then t equal to t next. So now t will point to the last node, and here you see t next equal to null. It contain null. So since it contain null, the loop will break. And you see, since loop has not continued, this 10 will not get printed. That is a problem. That means somehow I have to, reach beyond this last node. And what I can say, if I assume that somehow forcefully, if I write t equal to t next, when t is pointing to the last node, what will be the content of t? Content of t will become null. Because when t is pointing to the last node, and if I execute t equal to t next, then right now t next is null. So executing t equal to t next will lead to content of t will become null. So that means when t will point to some null, I don't have anything to do. My job is done. So when this t pointing here and t equal to t next will execute, then what will happen? T will point to null. So that means instead of writing t next not equal to null, if we write only t not equal to null, if we write only while t not equal to null, then see what will happen. T is pointing initially first node, t is pointing to a node, that means content of t is 100. So let's try run it. Let's write in this way. So t content of t was initially 100. Fine. T 100 is not equal to null, correct? Printed. So 1 will get printed. Fine. 1 will get printed. Then t equal to t next. So what will happen? The next value of t will become 200. Right? So t is pointing now this one. It's not pointing here. T is pointing now 200 not equal to null, correct? Again, that means t data. That means 200 data. That means 7. 7 will get printed. Then t equal to t next. So now t will become 300. So now again 300 not equal to null true. That means data of 300. That means 3 will be get printed. T equal to t next. So what will happen? Now t will become 400 because t is pointing this node. T was pointing this one. Now t next means 400. So t equal to t next means t will now point 400. Right. So 400 is not equal to null. That means again true. Data of 400 means 8. So 8 will get printed, right? Now t equal to t next. T equal to t next means 400 next. That means 500. Now t, that means we'll point this node, right? So 500. Now t contain 500. Oh, t was contain 400, and then t will contain 500. Right? T will contain 500. And 500 is not null again. That means data of 500 will get printed, that is 10. And then t equal to t next. It means 500 next. 500 next means null. In the next part of the 500 address, we have null. So now t will contain null. And null, not null, will become false. Since it is false, loop will not continue. I don't need to continue because I have printed every data. So two things we have seen regarding the traversal. That if you want to print all the data of a node, of a linked list, then you have to use what we can say. You have to use t not equal to null, this statement. But if you want to stop at the end of the linked list, you don't want to go beyond the linked list, end of the linked list. You want to stop at the, you want to write an algorithm where t, some pointer will point to the last node of the linked list. Then the criteria will be t next not equal to null. So these are the two things you have to realize. So we will end our class for today. In the next class, we will see many more modifications on this. By the way, the linked list that now actually what we call single linked list. This is what we call single linked list. Because I have a single path from first node to last node. I don't have any path to go back. That's why it is single linked list. So we will have many modifications on this linked list in the next successive classes. So in the next class, we will actually try to realize how to modify this linked list. Modify means how I can insert some new node in between some linked list, in between two nodes of a linked list, or how we can delete a node from a linked list, something like that. Thank you.